So a situation where you would probably need a survey method would probably be anything in marketing. So if you had a marketing project and you needed to gather a large amount of data, using observers would be kind of expensive and a waste of time, or like very time consuming. While if doing a survey, you'd be able to mass distribute to the general populace, get a lot of information relatively quickly, and it would be pretty cheap just to make one and then just mass distribute it. A pro and con of surveys: one pro may be that you receive honest feedback, um, because it's anonymous, or that you might be able to ask very personal questions and get some good answers out of them because it's private. While the cons might be that the opposite, where participants might not take as much ownership, and thus um, their answers and your results might not be as accurate. What are some advantages of using observations? The biggest advantage of using observation methods is that you get to see things in a more natural setting. So you would be able to point out or see things that you wouldn't be able to, or some you wouldn't be able to notice otherwise, or that some even people wouldn't be able to know themselves, like body posture and things like that. How do we differentiate observer bias and observer effect? Observer bias is when the observer's expectations influence their research. So their like expectations, they might change their own personal bias or for the outcome of the study, while observer effect is when the observers actually change the behavior of those that they are observing. So they change the behavior of the participants. Reactivity, though, is different, in which reactivity is when the participants change their behavior in some way when they know that they're being watched. It may be direct or indirect influence from the researcher, but people know, so they're kind of like changing it to people please in a way. It's different from the first two questions because one, it's the participants willingly changing or unknowingly changing their actions to match what they think the researchers want. And two, there's also multiple forms of reactivity.